Cosmo Macero back from a ski week up in Vermont, spreading that financial love around the New England region. Nicely done.
Northern New England, gotta love it.
Peter Kadges, man who's still peeling off those dollar bills for his doctor as he nurses. You missed the sockless croc last week.
Playing hurt. I like it.
Yeah, they're hurt. I think he's over the hurt now. I think he's just playing out the string. Is what's going on.
I'm just milking it for what it's worth.
Let's head to New Hampshire, gentlemen, first and foremost, because there is a very interesting little bit of political intrigue going on up there. Barack Obama is set to name Republican Senator Judd Gregg Commerce Secretary. Gregg says he won't take the job unless a Republican is named his replacement in the Senate. Democratic Governor John Lynch says Obama really wants him. The only way he'll do it is if he gets a Republican. I will appoint a Republican to replace him. Cosmo, is the governor doing the right thing in this case, or is the Democratic Party right to be up in arms?
I think the party has every right to be angry about this. Talk about putting the governor in a real tough position, an unenviable position. It tells you what Obama thinks about Gregg, how important he is to the administration at this time of economic crisis. But it really, puts as second on the agenda the good of New Hampshire, at least in the eyes of the Democrats up there.
Gregg also getting to name his own successor, Peter. Usually when you take another job like this, you don't get to say, by the way, here's the guy I want taken over for me. Gregg sort of has done that. He has played to the Republicans of New Hampshire, but Lynch not playing to the Democrats of New Hampshire.
No, I have two thoughts. One, these are very unusual times. They're tough times, and I think unusual measures are called for. The idea of a Republican for a Republican swap, I can understand. Having the senator name his own replacement, I think, is going too far. My preference, if I lived in New Hampshire, and I don't, would be for the governor to name an independent. Of course, this is all about the balance of power in Washington, and it's very, very tight. I think Obama, however, does come out looking good nationally for this because he's trying to rise above local interests and serve the nation.
Obama comes out looking good, but if you're a voter in New Hampshire, don't just say, hey, Patterson didn't listen to Obama. Blagojevich, for better or worse, didn't listen to Obama. But here's our guy doing what Obama tells him.
Interesting you bring that up. Purely as perhaps cocktail discussion, 2 Senate seats, 2 states impacted by Obama directly, and both states unhappy about how it turns out. That's a lot of impact to have in order to fill out your cabinet.
Let's look in the crystal ball for a second. 2010, when this seat goes to general election, John Sununu runs, John Sununu wins. Shaheen and Sununu as the team of senators from New Hampshire. Could you think of a worse knockdown, drag-out pair than those two?
There's a slasher film in there somewhere, I think.
They'll campaign against each other just for the heck of it.
They're not even running it the same
just for sport.
Okay, so in this case, we've got Obama who says there's only one guy that can be Commerce Secretary, obviously, and that's going to be Judd Gregg. Let's move on now because we've got Tom Daschle in the news. Similar philosophy where Obama says there's only one guy, and it's got to be Tom Daschle, just like there was only one guy, and it had to be Tim Geithner. Only Daschle, like Geithner, has a little tax problem. And guess what? We're told to overlook that, even though it wouldn't be overlooked if it was us, because they're the only guys in the world that can do this job. What's your biggest problem with the Daschle pick, Cosmo?
I got to say, I think the president is sort of wasting away some of the tremendous reservoir of political capital he has in order to get these appointments through. And it's too bad because these aren't the kind of things in this environment that people are going to overlook. People are doing their own taxes. They're concerned about every dime. And to see that kind of oversight, $140,000 for your driver, it just doesn't wash real well.
And one time is one thing, Peter. The old fool me once. All of a sudden, the very next guy that comes up has another tax problem? I mean, isn't it enough already?
I would think so. Geithner's situation, while not great, is understandable. He made a mistake. They dealt with it. Geithner's biggest problem was he couldn't come clean. He couldn't just say, look, I made a mistake. I'm very sorry. I paid my taxes. It took him 12 tries to get that. Daschle comes off to me as a cutie pie. I have to say, when he was in the Senate, there was something he always seemed too slick for his own good. This business, he should have come clean to the Obama administration much, much earlier. all I can say is he better do a really good job.
And quickly, is one thing that we know about the Obama administration is when they say there's a short list, it means there's one guy on the list, and that's the guy who better get the job. It looks like he doesn't have any fallbacks in any of these cases.
Yeah, no, he's putting all his eggs in these baskets, and he's going hard at them. And that's why there's reluctance for a lot of critics to come out.
Speaking of eggs in baskets, Deval Patrick put a lot of his eggs in the casino basket last year. Sal DeMacy did away with it. Sal DeMacy is now gone, coincidentally enough. Robert DeLeo takes over as House Speaker, says, you know where I stand on casinos. Deval says, let the games begin. Is there any way this time next year casinos are not in the Commonwealth, Peter?
I don't know. I just don't know. There'll be more gambling in the Commonwealth. There'll definitely be more gambling. I think the question is it going to be developed in an economically sensible way, as the governor had first proposed, although I'm not sure in light of the economic realities that makes sense anymore. Are we going to have one of these helter-skelter things where a lot of dying racetracks and all become sort of faux casinos? Yeah, and I'll tell you, they tried that in Rhode Island, and Rhode Island's having big problems with it. It seems that if you're going to go for gambling, you need to go for the high-end casino or nothing.
Long before I worked for a firm that was involved in gambling interests as I am now, I thought this might have happened before. Now you've got, and it hasn't, now you've got the single biggest obstacle to gaming removed from Beacon Hill. I'm going to go out on that limb, which I don't often do, and say in a year I think that will happen. And I think there's a puzzle here.
What limb are you going out on? I mean, this is definitely happening. Who's going to oppose it?
Peter raises a good point, but there's a puzzle here that fits together. There's a model for the racetrack-based gaming in this part of the state, and then maybe somewhere else, Western Mass or wherever, some sort of resort development.
I think the populace wants, if we're in for a penny, we're in for a pound. We don't want racinos and meeting halfway. That's just my feeling, but we'll see.
I think the two pieces can fit together.
Quickly, short on time here, but the one story that I know you love, Cosmo, the guy that died up in New Hampshire, whose obituary read that he was the guitarist from Kansas that wore the eye patch, said he wrote Carry On My Wayward Son. Turned out he was not Kansas Rick like he had led people to believe. Number one, are you impressed with a guy who claims he's in Kansas? And number two, if you had to pass yourself off as a celebrity, who would you go with?
The guy was creative in his fraud, but it was fraudulent nonetheless. And I don't know, if I was going to be a second-rate celebrity and I was a rock star, maybe it would be the bass player for the Marshall Tucker Band or something like that.
I can accept that.
Something that's plausible.
Listen, the guy, as scams go, the guy was a genius. I mean, he hurt no one. He probably got a few drinks. Maybe he even got a little romance out of it. But I don't know. Myself, I'd go for broke. I'd just say I was Elvis.
I'm not sure that one's going to work. There'll be no sex involved for you if you try that. Peter Katchis of the Phoenix, Cosmo Macero of O'Neill & Associates.